You get in the car, you shut the door, and for a few seconds, nothing feels different. The same road, same traffic, same route home, but something slightly off. Not dramatic, not obvious, just not quite connected. The system has been cut and your brain hasn't caught up yet. In the meeting, you're professional. You've been working for over 30 years. You know how to sit there, take the notes, and ask the right questions about notice pay without making a scene. But while they're talking, you're still at work. You're mentally checking that email you're supposed to send at 2 o'clock. You're still wearing the uniform, even if the uniform is just a shirt and a pair of trousers. It's like when you've been driving a van or a car for 8 hours straight. You pull up, you turn the engine off, and you walk into the house. But your body still feels the vibration of the road. You're still steering. You're anticipating corners that aren't there. The hit doesn't land until later. It's usually the silence. You're standing in the kitchen waiting for the kettle to boil, and you realise your phone hasn't buzzed in 4 hours. That silence is heavy, and that knotted feeling in the pit of your stomach isn't panic. It's just a quiet realisation that the tracks you've been running on for decades have just ended. The strange part is how aggressively normal the rest of the world is. The traffic is backing up at the usual roundabout. People are arguing over a parking space at the supermarket. They have a destination. They have a problem that matters to someone. But you're looking at it all from the outside. You can see the movement, but you aren't part of the flow anymore. You can be sitting in a cafe with someone you know well. They're checking their phone, talking about the shopping or their afternoon, and you realise they're still inside the week and you're not. Not because anything's wrong between you, just because they still have a Tuesday and a Wednesday. There's still momentum to their day. Someone nearby has complained about a late delivery, and there's a moment where you almost envy that because their stress is anchored to something, and yours is just a lack of signal. For over 30 years, your days were structured for you by someone else. A company told you where to be at 9 a.m. It defined what a productive Tuesday looked like. You didn't have to think about it, you just followed the tracks. That structure doesn't fade away, it doesn't phase out, it just stops dead. And your brain, this highly experienced, reliable piece of kit, keeps trying to find those tracks. It's like waking up and reaching for something that's been moved. You stumble because the support you expected has vanished. There's a significant delay between the job ending and your identity catching up. That 6:30 a.m. alarm clock in your head is the hardest thing to switch off. You wake up for about 3 seconds, you think, right, I need to get moving. That meeting's at 9. Then the reality hits the floor. You're wide awake, the house is quiet, and you realize there's absolutely no reason to be out of bed. But you can't go back to sleep because the talk is already there. You've got all this energy geared up for a day that doesn't exist. So you end up standing in the kitchen at 7 a.m. looking at the garden and feeling like a spare part. It's not laziness, it's the engine running with no load on it. You still think in terms of we. You still think about the job or the team. You have all this professional drive built up over decades, but there's nowhere for it to land. You're revving the engine in neutral. It's loud, it's draining, and it wears you out for no reason. You're burning fuel, but you aren't moving. Focus tends to go to the money, but the immediate problem is the loss of reference points. It's the small things that catch you out. It's looking at your laptop and realizing it's not your laptop. It belongs to a company that doesn't want you there anymore. It's the realization that your identity was tied up in things as simple as a passcode or a specific chair or the way the coffee tasted in the break room. When those things are gone, you feel physically lighter, but not in a good way. It's the lightness of being unanchored. You've spent decades being the go to guy for a specific set of problems. Without those problems to solve, you start to wonder if the guy is still there at all. Floaty, disconnected feeling. It feels like failure, but you start to see what's actually happening. It isn't a collapse. It's more like everything has just stopped suddenly. It's what happens when a heavy, long running machine comes to a sudden halt. The energy has to go somewhere. You aren't disappearing into a void. You're just decoupling from a system that was never really yours to begin with. Everything looks the same, but it feels completely alien. That isn't a verdict on your career. It's just the gap. The silence between one chapter ending and the next one being written. Most people try to fill that silence with noise or a bad job offer just to stop the ringing in their ears. But the engine is still cooling down. The system is still resetting, and that will take the time it takes. I'll see you in the next one.